Hey there, I just wanted to do a quick bedtime practice, something you can do right before bed to help you drift off to sleep and hopefully stay asleep. A lot of us, at least a third of Americans, have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep through the night. So, whether it be getting to bed and just falling asleep within, 10 minutes of hitting the pillow, or maybe you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and toss and turn for an hour. Uh, you're not alone. It's very common, all of that stuff. And so there's some things we can do. And right now, I'll address some of the, just like an asana practice, yoga poses that are good for before bed. So, right, we're taking a higher energy, going to a lower energy, a little more settled, a little more calm. So, we'll start upright and then work our way down to the floor. So, when you're ready, come on up to standing. So, coming to standing and just feel what it's like to breathe. How does your breath feel right now? Physically, where are you feeling it? Could be different every time. It's definitely different for everybody, which is why I'm not giving a lot of cues on what to look for or how it should feel. Just notice, how it is for you to breathe. And how about we just soften our knees a bit and take your feet comfortably wide, just a hip width or so apart, bending knees. Really kind of feel some energy, some downward weight into your feet. And then just maybe even lift your toes off the floor and press down into the balls of your feet to bring your legs back to straight or almost straight and let your toes come back down. And maybe right now you even feel that stronger grounded foundation beneath you. And a little trick to start settling and calming, right? As we just tip one ear, maybe left ear towards left shoulder, breathing here. You can even take maybe your left hand to your right pec, lay your right hand on top of it. And then just a little pressure into the chest and then mostly down, just kind of stretching some of this muscle, the top of the shoulder, top of the chest, up into the neck. Taking our ear towards our left shoulder, maybe our eyes towards the floor. Breathing here and just like noticing what you feel in the shoulder and neck. And with each exhale, see if you can soften that area. Now we're going to keep the hands where they are and most of the pose the way it is. One thing I'm going to do is start to rotate very slowly, very gently. Take my head, my nose, my eyes looking upward towards the sky, towards the ceiling. And your eyes can be closed or open. Keep that downward energy in the chest. And we're not trying to, go too forceful there. Just looking for a little separation of these tissues from these tissues. And release, release, slowly come up out of it. Maybe feel the difference between one side or the other. And we'll go to the other side. So we'll tip right ear towards right shoulder. Again, eyes gently downward is great. And right hand to top of chest. Left hand just rests on top of it. Little pressure into the chest and mostly just sort of slipping it downward. Just a little shift, like the skin on your upper chest is just going down a bit under your hand and the muscles going with it. And breathing here. And then the second phase, we gently lift our gaze towards the ceiling and just see where in that movement, where in those actions, do you feel something? Where do you come up against resistance or tension? And really just recognizing that more than acting on it. Last breath here. And release, release, release. And let's just do this. Take our arms wide. Something like this is fine. And just move the elbows back, forearms back, get broad across the top of the chest. Bring the forearms together. Maybe they can touch, maybe they don't. It's totally fine if they don't. And just a few of these, back and forth. And I say it all the time, we don't use force here. We're letting the repetition work the magic. So each time we go through the movement, the muscles can accommodate it, maybe just a bit more. We can get smoother, we're building the nerves and such, finer control. One more time. And that's an open on the inhale and closing on the exhale. Let's go ahead and just take our arms wide. Starting, how about with palms up? And then we just rotate, palms down. Maybe the palms turn towards the wall behind us. See how far you can go without much force. And then go the other way. Inhale into external rotation. Palms go up, up, up. Maybe start to turn towards the back as well. And then exhale, palms rotate again towards the floor, maybe towards the back of your room. How about maybe two more? Very slow rotations. If you want to try this another way, you can lay on your back on the floor and do it without the strength component of holding your arms up against gravity. And release, hands down. Let's go ahead and step our feet somewhat wide, turning the toes out. How about just hands to hips for this one? We're going to goddess pose or horse stance. So we inhale, we're upright, and exhale, we just come down. And it looks kind of like some old style calisthenic, right? Inhale, lift and rise. Exhale, come down. It's very effective at releasing some of the tension we might be holding in our hips. And it also keeps the hip joints a little healthier as we grow older. We want those joints to serve us well. So just 5 or 6 of these. How about this time when we come down, we just stay in the pose. Maybe take your hands to your knees and then open across the chest. Let this all open up. Shoulders go back. Keep your head loose, not doing the work with your neck. Maybe going a little deeper if you wish. Another option, hands to heart. And again, eyes gently downward. We're trying to wind down for the day, so gazing towards the floor pretty much at all times is a good idea. Lift and rise when you're ready, and just take your feet, swivel your heels out, feet kind of parallel to one another. And you can go as wide as is comfortable. Hands to hips. And folding forward. And when you get here, now you might want your hands on a block or a bolster or like a coffee table. A willing family member. So sometimes like being up here is better, right? So you feel yourself, what feels right for your body. Okay, and my hands are hovering because I don't have blocks in your world. Hopefully there's something you're putting your hands on. If not, just come down, fingertips down, palms down, you decide. And just be here for a second. Don't go into your deepest fold just yet. Once you've been here a minute or so, or a little less than a minute, maybe bending knees, let the hips come down, lifting toes once again and pressing into the ball mounds of the big toe to re-straighten the legs or get close to straight, and then folding more deeply. And your hands can be on the floor between your feet, like in a line with your feet. You could take hold of wrists, calves. You could hold elbows. I always encourage just play with this stuff. Find what's best for you. And with each exhale, just releasing a little more.
And now this pose you can stay in for maybe 3 minutes, but in the sake of a not so long practice, I'm going to come on upright very slowly, very mindful, very demure. Here we are. Hopefully you know that reference. I didn't make that up. That's a TikTok thing. Okay, when you're ready, start heel toe, maybe hands come to waist, and we walk our feet closer and come on up to standing. And just take a moment, just a few breaths here in standing, eyes closed or gazing gently downward. And then we'll come on down to the floor. Yeah, I suggest feet down, knees up, how about hands on belly for starters. And just take a few breaths right here. Inhale and let your belly rise. Do a belly breath. Belly rises on the inhale and belly falls on the exhale. And I always love to make a sound. You can hear the breath going out of your mouth. So we inhale through mouth or nose. And then exhale through mouth. I don't know if you can hear that breath. If the mics are that subtle. And again, this is just a breath you can do anytime you wish, whenever it feels good. Let's do a quick stretch of the hips here. Across one ankle. Let's take the left ankle across the right knee. Go ahead and take your hand. You can press that left knee away. Open this space up in the hip there. And then we'll take the right foot off the floor. Hands go around shin or knee or behind the thigh of the right leg. And we just pull the right leg in and we swing the left knee away and we draw our toes back towards our shins and just find a feel good stretch here for you. See where you feel it. I think generally it's going to be this outer hip, maybe the underside of the hamstring a bit. This knee keeps moving that direction. Left knee swings away from upper body. And again, just hug it in, hug it in, hug it in. And release when you're ready. Switch to the other side. Right ankle crosses left knee. Again, right knee swings away. You don't have to use your hand for that if you don't want to. You can also push your hand into your thigh bone right there. Find some more space. When you're ready, hug that left knee in. Again, hands around thigh or hands around shin. Either way, draw in, toes pull back, right knee swings away. And again, just look for that sweet spot for you for tonight. And release as soon as you're ready. Feet down. Now the next pose we'll do is legs up a wall. And it does require some kind of a prop support. You don't want to just have your back flat on the floor right up to the wall. So what I have set up here is a bolster. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to go ahead and take this mat out of the way for the sake of demonstration. And the bolster out of the way a little bit too. So this is kind of probably like the hardest yoga pose to get into. In some ways, it's certainly the most awkward in a room full of people. What I'll do typically myself is I'll sit sideways with my hip is going right against the wall. I'm going to slide right up to it, okay? And then I'm going to tip back all the way to my back. Whoops, got a bolster in my way. Tipping back as such. And then, this is the fun part, you kind of swivel, 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 so your legs go up the wall. Your hips, your glutes, your butt, if you want to call it that, is right at the wall, right at the baseboard or close to it. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you need a couple inches of clearance. Totally fine. Don't want to make you feel like you're not doing it right. So we're here. But this is not the pose. We need support under our sacrum. So this is where a bolster or maybe like a couch cushion would be great. You could also use a block, a yoga block, if you have them, or if you're old school and you have like a big, thick book of some sort. In any case, you want to lift your hips off the floor at least like 4 inches, I'd say. So this is fun part two. We lift our hips off the floor and slide our support in underneath us. And that comes right under the sacrum. And then there's a little scooching that goes on to try and get close to the wall again. And when you're there, okay, here we are, legs up the wall, arms can be where you like them, on the floor, on your belly, whatnot. Very important that we do not turn our head in these poses. Whenever we're on our back in this way with some weight coming down on the shoulders and the neck, always looking up. Okay, always looking up. Doesn't matter when someone's talking, getting your attention, keep looking up. Okay, so we're here. And again, hips, legs, as much on the wall as you possibly can. And this is a great pose for 3 to 5 minutes. You'll feel just kind of a general energy coming down. There's some movement of fluid, as we tend to accumulate water and such in our legs and feet throughout the day. That's kind of coming back so it can get recirculated just wherever your body needs it, right? So your body decides where to pump those fluids and what to do, and also lets the lymphatic fluid drain towards the middle body where that goes through the process of cleansing and elimination. So 3 minutes right here. And the way we come out of a pose like this, feet go to the wall, knees bend. Okay. And then we just sort of gently shimmy, 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 press ourselves along the floor away from the wall till our hips come off of the bolster, the support. And just keep extending, extending, extending until you find yourself on the floor completely. And just lying in your Shavasana. Resting here, toes tip out, placing hands where you wish, and lying in Shavasana for several minutes. Maybe feeling into your breath, giving your mind something to pay attention to. And when you're ready, we roll to one side or the other before pressing up to seated. And again, always recommended to sit on something, such as a bolster, a block, a pillow, a pile of blankets. You can get in a chair if that's better for you. And you can always just stay on the floor quite a while. Each exhale coming downward, letting gravity do its good work. And with each inhale, a little more length in the spine. Shouldn't say with each inhale. Just take an inhale to grow tall in the spine and just find your proper balance between downward energy through your seat and upward energy through your upper body, chest, back of your neck. If you wish to draw hands together back to heart, please do. Thank you for practicing today. Feel free to bow in a gesture of gratitude to anything you're grateful for, especially before bed. Just think of what you're grateful for, whatever that might be. Lift head, releasing hands. And I'll see you next time.